And we're live. Hey, Federal Prison Talk here. Hey, my name's Sean. I haven't done a video in a while, so thank you for coming on. This is Diana. She's got a self-surrender, guys, pretty quick. Did I get the date right? May 13th?
May 14th.
Oh, I'll change it later, but
So close. So close, yeah.
ah. Anyways, guys, she agreed to come on and she wants to talk about her like experience during pretrial. How do you get through that? I know a lot of people watch my channel, they Google this and they Google that and they come up across me because you're going through pretrial hell, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
want to say hello and introduce yourself?
Of course. Number one, Sean, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I came across your videos just not too long ago, and a lot of the things that you were saying really helped me during my pretrial process because it's been devastating. So for anyone that's going through this, um, you know, there is an end. There is an end, and I think the best thing that I can say is that communities such as like the ones that you've built here, Sean, it's really essential to to be a part of and learn and grow and seeing how we can have the ability to really change things around.
Well, thank you. I started this channel because there was two guys that helped me while I was on pretrial. Walt Pavlo, and he's not doing this much anymore, but he's teaching criminology classes at the
Wow.
Southern University of Boston, and he did
Wow.
like did he do 10 years? He did a lot of time, and but he's turned it around. Now he's teaching criminology courses, kind of like that movie
Congrats.
Catch Me If You Can. Remember that movie? Now he's
Yes,
working for the
exactly
feds.
that. That is so funny. Yeah, congrats, Walt.
Walt put $100 on my books every month while I was in there, and I did 52 month sentence, but I was there for about 27 months. He never missed a month.
That's
He said
absolutely insane.
because I had no money, they took it all. I mean, I had money. If I'd known I was going to get caught, I would have buried it all.
Yeah. Or just not done it. At least on my end, that's kind of where I'm sitting.
Yeah, if you have any money, bury it quick, though. Anybody out there, no. I don't want to tell you to do that. Did I just tell people to do that? I don't know.
He's joking, everybody.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, we can still joke around and still find positive things throughout this extremely brutal process. It's just like a blip in our lives, and it shouldn't define who you are as a person. And I think just from getting incarcerated and getting extradited, and I was extradited all the way from a country that I was living in Serbia, out in Eastern Europe.
Now, why were you living there? You
I'm
didn't run there,
married.
did you?
That's a story that they might like to spin, but no, I was married. My husband is Serbian, and we had kids together. So, being out there in Serbia, I was just living my life. Um, and a lot of the things that I had done ended up catching up with me, and so it's painful to be extradited and to be ripped away from your family, not having access to them. I think one of the things that's been the most difficult about this, it's like almost 2 years of me not seeing my family. So uh, having to go through this pre-trial stage and now self-surrendering literally within a month from now
Yeah.
has given me a lot of time to reflect and to turn things around and really try to be a law-abiding citizen. But it's not easy. It's so, I think, Sean, I mean, from your experience, I think um, this is like the worst part of it, because you never know what's happening. Like for me, at least, I know, hey, this is what I got sentenced to. This is now where I'm going. This is my sentencing date. But before that,
Before
you
that, oh yeah, you'll hear
know,
everything from you're going to get probation to 20 years, and
yeah,
nobody believes you in between because you're out. You
yeah,
wouldn't be
you're
out like going to work and stuff if you're going to
right.
go to prison one day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy when you're out. You're living your life, right? You're working full time. You're recreating um, a new a new chapter in your life, right? You're creating
Right.
communities, new networks, new access, and having to sort of like re-identify yourself because now you are convicted.
Yeah.
And so having to, own up to the mistakes that you've made while trying to, um, juggle work-life balance and figuring out your case. And then so many times in this system your cases get pushed. So I thought, I was like, okay, I'm out on bond, I'm only going to be out on bond for 3 months, and it ended up being 14 months, right? And then you kind of go back and forth. And in with federal cases especially, we kind of already know what our guidelines are. And but even then there's so many unexpected things. and
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 those
so
guidelines, they're just what they are. They're guidelines.
literally that's
In
it.
federal court, a judge can go below or above. And I've heard
Exactly.
them go above sometimes too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so, I wanted to do everything that I could, Sean, to mitigate my situation because, I had a court appointed attorney because I had everything taken away from me, literally everything, like not a penny to my name. When I had, when they had taken me away from my home in front of my daughter.
Wow. And they will go to other countries. I had a good friend, Chris Pedros. He's been on this show 10 different times. He was living in New Zealand, and they came and got him.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, they do. And then when they do an investigation on you, you can really sense that, because for like months I always felt like there was people tailing me, there was always people like watching me, and that's insanity. Um, and so while I was in Serbia, I was waiting in a facility for 7 months to get extradited, and that was absolutely brutal.
So what
So
what is it like in one of their facilities? Because I hear, lots of parts of Europe that the jails and prisons are kind of upscale compared to ours. But
mm, oh,
no,
no, no,
they
I
say
think
in
that's probably
Sweden, if you can
in
afford a hotel, they'll
Sweden.
let you stay there instead of prison. I don't know if
That-
that's
and
true.
and that's it. But that's literally it. Or I think like Denmark, I think they really glamorize it, but that's not the case at all. We're talking about, so there's a difference between like Western Europe and like Eastern Europe. And Eastern
Sure.
Europe, while it's developed, it's still very, very traditional. So we're talking about like centers that have been around for hundreds of years that haven't been updated. So yeah, it was not enjoyable in the least bit. But no,
What about the language barrier while you were there? I mean, could you communicate, or do they
it
speak
was it
English?
was it was difficult, but I do speak Serbian fluently.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, I speak a couple languages, so that was helpful. But either way, I'm not native Serbian, so there was a lot of like racism, hostility, things about Americans. Guys, when you're outside of America, everybody hates us.
I know where you're going.
Everybody hates us. It is not fun for Americans to be out of America. Trust me. um,
This is the only country where you're African American, Mexican American, Italian American. You get to those other countries, you're American. They don't care.
yeah,
I have black friends that go to Africa thinking they're American African American. They tell them you're American. There's nothing African about you. They come back, they go, they're in shock.
that's so funny. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so at that time, that was probably like when I was going the absolute craziest, because I didn't know. I didn't really know when I was getting extradited. It took a long time to get evidence over there. Um, it was it was a time where I'm like, okay, you really have to self reflect, and they put you in cells. Doesn't matter. They're in Eastern Europe, especially like in Belgrade, Serbia,
Eastern Europe,
which
I
is
could
like,
only imagine Eastern Europe, man.
so in Belgrade, which is, I mean, one of the most beautiful cities in the absolute world, but they don't play around there. Those are true hardcore, like that is a hardcore culture. And, but they don't, in that system, it's not as organized as, I don't want to even say that our federal system is organized, but, they don't, they don't care what kind of class you're in. So they all put you together. So I was doing for 7 months, 23, 23-1, which is insane. So
If you
like
get
in
the
the C,
one, if you get the one. right?
I did. Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't take you out, but once a month, and for
Yeah.
on the roof or something for an hour, right?
Yeah, exactly. They give you the one, but sometimes that one was like half, you know?
Yeah.
It's not a true one. um so during that time, it's like, okay, what is it that I can do? I documented everything. I journaled everything that I did, everything that I thought about, and I wrote a lot of letters. Like, I was in there and I'm like, listen, they tried to peg it as if I didn't want to come back to America to to face trial, and that wasn't the case at all. I was like, I was sitting in Serbia waiting for my husband and my daughter's papers to come so that we can actually migrate to America together. Like, there was
So
no
are they
way
all
that
here now? Your husband and daughter here now? No,
I got extradited, because then all of this
but
happened.
they didn't come with you, or maybe they couldn't afford it, right? Or
No, because
no.
they couldn't afford it. Yeah, I was the breadwinner of the family, and then when I got imprisoned, everything, like financial, like everything was in disarray, because now the head of the family isn't there anymore, right? Um,
I do know when you get off probation, they'll let you go back because I got a friend. He went back to Jordan. Another friend, he went back he back to Ireland, and they will let you go. Sometimes even on probation for a
yeah,
visit, maybe, or a six
yeah.
month stay. But doesn't do you any good now. I know you don't want to
It
hear that
doesn't.
now.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like, I just want them here. Unfortunately, now that I have to self surrender on May 14th, we'll kind of see what that looks like. But during my time while I was in prison in Belgrade, I was spending a lot of time just writing, and so I was actually writing to every single political party there was. This is insane. I had like 71 like receipts, because I was writing to the US embassy.
Keep
I was
doing that
writing,
when you get to where you're going. Keep doing that. That keeps your sanity, and
it does.
you
It
know
100% does. Everyone thought that I was absolutely crazy. They're like, Diana, who cares? You're just in prison, sit in prison. I'm like, no, like, I need to write, and I wanted it. Um, I had to, like, mitigate for myself, because I knew that nobody else would, and no one else would know the full story of what actually, had occurred, or how I view things, or my deep remorse for those that were affected because of my stupid decisions, right? So I wrote letters to Interpol, to my judge, to my attorneys, to the U.S. Embassy, to the U.S. Justice of Department, and I have all of those receipts, just to say, like, listen, like, I'm sitting here for nothing when I want to be extradited. I want to face trial. I want to be able to, provide that restitution to those victims. And for me, that helped a lot of time pass. I started to write love letters to my family,
sure.
like having, like, as a journal, drawing images for my kids. And at least they allowed you to send letters and receive letters unlimited.
I'm gonna
Um,
tell you, the letters are so. I got a box full of my letters that
uh,
people wrote me back, and I took a list. This is something you should do. Make a list of all the people you want to write. I
yeah,
had 20 people. Some were relatives. Some were drug and alcohol counselors from 10 years ago. Some were
sure.
AA friends. Just 20 people. I wrote every month. I wrote a letter to all 20. And sometimes it took 6 months for somebody to reply. Everybody eventually replied. Some on a
Yeah,
regular basis. Some you won't hear from for months because it takes to find a pen, to find a piece of paper, and then clear some time and write to you personally in
of
somebody's
course.
crazy world that we live in. When I get that letter, it's like gold, man. An
Yeah,
email's
it
that's great.
is.
An email's great, but the paper, I can show it around. I can hold it. I can sleep with it. I still
Yeah,
got them.
exactly. You feel like you feel their energy with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes such a difference, really, and it keeps you sane.
does.
Um, Yeah, and over there, I was allowed to have 3 visits per month. So that the interesting part is, like, in Serbia, you don't wear, like, the jumpsuits. You just wear your regular clothes,
Oh, regular clothes. Wow.
um, because they can't afford it. It's a poor country,
Oh
so
yeah.
yeah, it is. And
I thought
I
everybody in Europe's rich, and they think everybody in America's rich, right?
that's exactly what they think. It is No, propaganda. It's not true at all. But yeah, so kind of anyone that's going through pretrial, the best thing that I can say is use that time so wisely and effectively to rebuild, a new life. I really wanted to like mitigate for myself in the sense where I'm like, okay, let me have all of these character reference letters, which I came to court with 36 of them, right? I had that prepared at
That
30.
might be a bit too much because you're kind of making the judge work a little, but
I know.
you do
I
it
know.
anyways.
I'm gonna do it anyway. If I had
Yeah,
200, I would have sent 200.
yeah, yeah.
And also like
It does show the judge, hey, there's all these people that think you're
there's
still a
a
good person.
yeah,
But
there's whole community. And the thing was, it was like a range of people, right? People that have been in my life my whole entire life, perhaps like from high school or perhaps only in college, and then people who have while I was out on bond, new people and new networks and communities that I have formed and joined and been a part of that are writing these like character reference letters. And for me, it was really therapeutic because, putting that up against all of like the social media horrible things that have been said and posted about me and
oh, were
um,
there? I'm sorry, I didn't know that part.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no, massively. And I think this is a big reason. Thank you, Sean. This is why a big reason why I want to be able to come on and speak here because my kids are going to grow up one day, read all of those terrible things about their mother, and I want them to also see like, look, yes, I owned and I made those mistakes, but I did every single
Now,
thing.
right there, that you own them. That's the beginning of the
Yeah,
turning point. That
totally, totally.
that's for.
Yeah,
I was 4 years on pretrial. I don't mean to interrupt. The first 2 years, I did nothing wrong. How dare they indict me?
yeah,
Don't they know who I think I am?
yeah,
Not today.
yeah,
I needed to be thrown in prison.
yeah.
Okay, but as
I
you know, when we do go to prison, we our family goes with it. I mean, our decisions affect our family too. Your friends, your employers, people who knew you, all like you don't go into prison alone. I
no,
mean, you go in alone, but I mean, you've messed up
no.
other people's lives.
Massively, yeah, yeah. And I can't take that back. And I know this is gonna sound so psychotic, and I know that. I know this, but when I got arrested and when they had extradited me and when I was in prison, it was the first time that I actually felt free because I'm like, it's done. I'm like, I got caught. I'm like, this is all done
Oh,
now. I don't
it's
have to.
this old kind of relief. I no, I get it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have to put up this fucking facade anymore. I'm like, it is done. And I'm like,
Back out of
yes,
the
bring
butt,
me
back.
to justice. Yeah, bring me to justice. And like I didn't have to keep up with the lies. I didn't have to keep up with the parade. Like I just felt so much lighter and at peace, even though there was so much uneasiness and uncomfort, with all of the stuff that I've put my family and loved ones through, and especially the victims who I've hurt massively
Yeah,
through this scam, and I will forever regret it. But also at the same time, I can't live in that past. I know that I'm a parent. I know that I'm a wife. I know that I am a person that wants to give back to the community and that genuinely wants to, help people, and also find blind spots in my own life and other
see,
people's lives.
this is you talking. This is a big deal. You're talking. You're just about to go into prison, and you're taking more than just accountability. You're talking about all the damage you did and what it's done
Yeah,
to you inside, and you're becoming. And when you get there, you worked on yourself. I could tell. I didn't know you before or at indictment, but I already know the sneaky you and all that whatever you used to be is not today, and now
no,
you work. I mean,
yeah, and
it's a whole. It's an evolution, maybe.
it is. It is. But also I think a big part of it is like what you said, Sean, right? Is like taking that ownership. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, I fucked up. Yeah, I messed up a lot of people's life who I didn't intend to. Yeah, I made poor decisions and I wasn't honest with it because I was too egotistic or narcissistic, or I just thought that, it all
Everybody
fades
else,
out.
you justify it. We always justify a reason
Yeah,
why.
you
That
just
money was going to go for something stupid anyways. I just did him a favor.
right,
Hell, I helped this person.
right.
However we justify it.
However way you want to do it, right? Whatever helps you sleep at night, for lack of a better terms. But at the end of the day, like, you can't move forward unless you can actually accept and be self-aware and conscious and own up to the shit that you did. Because without it, like, it's gonna rot, and you're gonna feel it in your body, you're gonna feel it in your bones, like, and I think with me, like, finally having to come to terms and not having to lie anymore, like, there was just so much, like relief and freedom in that. So
what
I
what you're saying right now is rare. People like you are rare. I mean, on a scale of like what out of every 1,000 people that go to prison, maybe there's this many, that have what you have right now before they even go in. Now, more will get it once they're in there, and some will get it when they're out. You're way
yeah.
ahead of the game.
I look, I at the end of the day, my kids are going to grow up, they're going to see this, and I want them to know that your mom worked her ass off, right? She made some dumb shit and stupid mistakes, and she missed a big part of your lives that she will forever regret. But this is how I'm gonna rectify it, right? Just by doing good and wanting good, and like, owning up to the flaws and taking responsibility. I'm
I'm
not
going to tell
saying
you
that.
the best night's sleep I got in my whole entire life was
Yeah.
that very first night when I got to that federal prison camp. I slept
What?
so, I slept so good. Yeah,
No, are you
it was the
serious?
best sleep ever. Yeah, because like now I can, I could start this new journey. This new everything's behind me. Yeah, it was scary and it was lonely and it was surreal and all that, but it was the best sleep because now it's so all behind me and now I could see the light. When I
Yeah,
got sentenced, I could see the light, but that first night in there,
yeah.
like I couldn't believe I was really in a prison. There's cameras on me. There's something that where's it's a hidden camera show. All that it was real, but it was the best night's sleep, and I'll bet you'll have the same peaceful, just
John,
like
that is not what I expected for you to say during this interview. And, like I said,
if
I'm
you
a
were going to a penitentiary, I wouldn't. That's totally different. Okay, you're not.
I'm going to camp. Yeah, I'm going to camp. Um,
Were you relieved at sentencing day when the judge said, I give you 33 months?
no,
No, you weren't relieved that it's over. I'm not getting 20 years or no. The
no. You know
pretrial
what?
part.
You know what? I think, like, this is like a pro and a con for me. Like, I'm always going to see the glass, um, half full,
I'd
right?
say
Where
there's room for more.
I'm like there is I'm like I am just gonna get probation. Like, I was like, I really kicked ass during bond, so a little bit like Delulu. But my attorney was just like, listen, Diana, this is what you're gonna get. Everything that he said that I would get, I actually got. He's like, just prepare for the worst. And I'm like, okay, what's the worst? The worst is 33 months. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, 33 months. I'm like, I've already been gone from my family in another country that I haven't seen, touched, hugged in
Oh,
2 years.
now you're sorry. Yes,
Like, yeah,
that's how
yeah,
the
yeah,
judge looks at it. Like, oh, now
yeah,
you're sorry.
yeah. So the thing is that while I was out, while I've been out, excuse me, while I've been out on bond, um, I did all of those things. What I felt like was the right thing. Right, I had a full-time job. I was volunteering. I literally have
That
clocked on
not to burst
300
your
and
bubble, but the judge will tell you that's what normal people do.
yeah,
What separates you?
350 hours.
Why should I give you any lesser time? You're
I
just doing
agree.
what normal
No,
people do.
you're
And
right.
I hate to be devil's
No,
advocate, but
it's true. It's true. So for me, I'm like, well, I I'm helping, with the community. I have over, like, 350 hours of volunteer service and soup kitchens. 3 days before my actual sentencing. Not just because, it was great to add on, but, like, I was asked to speak at a career day,
ooh,
for a private charter school out here in New York City, and to talk about, entrepreneurship, things to avoid, and the importance of education.
and
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 three.
Did
3
they
days.
know that you're about to go to
No,
sentencing? So
no,
that's got to be a hard one to do. I mean, because
no.
but knowing that you can't participate in what you're, I mean, you can when you're done with this, but
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you know, I think that the whole point of it was like I truly felt that I did everything right and more. You know,
so let
on
me just
bond.
stop you there. Here's
Yeah,
the gift that you get, regardless if they give you 100 years in prison. Here's the gift that you get that they can never take away. You became
exactly,
a better person.
exactly. That
You
and
they can't take that from you, no matter
they
how much time.
can't.
You are now a better person. You understand more about yourself, and
100%.
it's gonna grow when you
Yeah,
get there. You're gonna
exactly.
keep working on yourself because I can already tell. I get the vibes.
Yeah,
So
thank
that's
you.
your gift right now.
Thank
That
you.
people pay thousands of dollars to get what you get to make sense. You got it, girl. You got it. Okay. Don't worry about the time they gave you.
I know.
Maybe that's God's way or the universe's way, whatever you believe in.
For
That
sure.
now you need to go work on yourself and make and keep it, keep it stable. But that's your
Exactly.
gift right now. You
It
got
is.
this gift, man. I'm telling you.
It is. I
Hold
know.
on to that.
I am. I am. I'm doing as much as
And
I
you people
can.
out there, that's what you get on pretrial. You get to
Yeah.
become a better person.
And you
Yeah.
get to have better nights. You get to plan your future. You get to think things a lot clearer. Your perspective is different. You know, I always think about like what your why is. It's a thing, it's a big thing that we say often in like the entrepreneur space is like, what's your why? What is your goal? What's the end goal? Who are you doing it for? Right. And then whatever your why, your end goal is, like reverse engineer that. Think about all of the steps, the necessary steps that you have to take in order to achieve those certain things. What are some of the things in my own personal life that I haven't achieved in a long time? And I was like, okay, well, I've always wanted to have a six pack. I didn't know what that was like because, I didn't ever put health as a priority. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start eating well. I'm going to start, dieting and, going on, marathons and like training and, all of,
Hazelton's gonna provide all that for you.
pardon, what?
You'll get Hazelton will provide all that stuff for
Yeah,
you. They got great
really?
programs.
Yeah, I know.
No, I mean you'll see.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I've seen guys lose 150 pounds while they were doing time.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I dropped massive, like massive weight while I was in Belgrade because I'm like, well, I'm doing 23-1. Shoot, what else can I do? Like I used to work out 3 times a day, you know? Like you had to keep yourself busy because you're literally in a cell all day long. That's it. You can't go outside. You can't walk around. No such thing. Um, so I think just to reiterate and sort of recap like what you said, pre-trial had really allowed me to tap back in to reality and really prepare for a future, and the best way that I could, and really giving myself time to put together restitution, right, to really think about the victims that have been impacted in this shit show that I caused,
Yeah.
and really going back into my faith and seeing all of the damage and just asking forgiveness for like my own self, number one. And being able to forgive myself and let a lot of the stuff go, because if I'm gonna move on in my life, I can't bring all of those burdens with me. It's just too heavy. It's
They'll
too
be there
heavy.
when you get out. I promise. They'll be
Yeah.
waiting if you want them to be there. But I
No,
mean,
no, get
I
rid of
say
it.
I got a show I did. A little banner. I said prison is a gift if you
Yeah,
let it be a gift.
yeah,
Because you
it's
know
true. I see that. I
how
can.
often in your life do you get a chance to put the whole world away from you and work on you? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, there's gonna be bullies in prison and all that stuff you got to do, but all your whole life's on hold, and now you can
right.
fix yourself, right? And
100%.
there's tons of classes, and you speak 3 languages. Teach, okay? It's called ACE, Adult Continuing Education. They'll give you opportunity. You can teach the other inmates how to speak those languages.
I love.
Give your knowledge away. Teach, and I'm telling you.
I love.
We did a me and a friend, we did a stand up comedy class, right? I mean, they'll let you
Oh,
teach anything.
oh my gosh, wait, that's right. I
We
heard
had
that in your
karaoke
other
on Friday
videos.
with the RDAP, and like
That's
I'm a
cool.
karaoke junkie now. But there's fun to do
I'm
while you're in there.
Filipino. We are the true karaoke junkies. Okay.
You're right, though. Oh, I worked at a restaurant once called Puerta Galera, and they had a bar called Parola, and it was there was all karaoke in there, and the waiters got to sing karaoke, and that's why they hired me.
Oh
It
my
was the
gosh.
funnest place.
Okay, wait,
It was
wait.
in Daly City, California. They call it
What?
Little Manila,
What
but
is your Little Manila? That's so funny. Okay, what
como
is your
está
go-to
acá, pare?
karaoke?
Babute, titimo, all that. I know.
Sean?
Well, I know all of
Sean?
you know. They know. Oh wait, see, I said the bad word. Okay, it's been a while.
Yeah, good.
Como, I forgot about that one.
I'll
But
teach you.
como
Teach
está
you a
acá,
couple.
right?
I'll
In the
teach you the good
pare.
ones. I'll
Yeah,
teach
yeah,
you
yeah.
the nice good ones.
I know there's no. That means what time is it?
Anong oras na?
Been a while.
You're like,
I'm in
okay.
Albuquerque now. They don't. I've never seen a Filipino person here in Albuquerque yet, but I know there's
Okay,
got to be some.
here we are. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Center field, John Fogerty.
Okay,
Put
all right.
me in, coach. I'm ready to play today. But I have all kinds of them. I do.
That's funny. I love it.
I like
Um,
Easy by the Commodores, Lionel Richie. A lot of his stuff.
yeah, I like the Carpenters. Like
Oh,
that's my
love
jam. Carpenters, Madonna. Like throw that on loop.
I even do time after time. This it's like I think I'm the first man to sing a Cyndi Lauper song and get away with it.
What? That's funny. All
That's one
right.
of my top five. So
Oh my goodness, that's great. You know, I know that there's going to be probably people that are watching this after, and whenever it's a year, a couple of years from now, I just really want to share this that whatever it is that you're going through, you're not the only person that has gone through it, and you will get through this. Just stay strong. I know it's easy to get caught up in temptations or feel bad for yourself, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel if you want it to be there, right? Like you have to actively reach out for it, walk down that path, and just there's so many great people that are going to come along your way that will just give you that bit of like motivation and inspiration and help and that guidance. For instance, like Sean, I'm so grateful that I got to meet you right
I'm
before
glad
sending.
you called. I
Yeah,
have like four people been calling me this month. They're all about to go in. And Jesse, I'm gonna be calling you next because
yeah,
he sent me a message. But thank you for calling me. I mean, it probably takes courage to pick up a phone, some guy on a video, but
yeah. It does. It absolutely does. And now that I'm at the end of it, right? Like there was one thing that like my legal team had always shared with me. They're like, Diana, the worst is behind you. The worst is behind you, and it's actually true because at least I know how long I'm gonna be going in for, right? At least now I know um, what's in store and what opportunities I can actually create for myself, and be able to provide for my family. And I know at the end of it, like I'm going to be able to be a doting wife and a mother and have our family as a whole unit again, and be able to have that career and give back to the community and continue to go to church and you know
and there's,
slowly
there's,
having.
there's so many religious services in every
Yeah,
federal prison. That's one right that they let you have. I don't care if you're Muslim or you're
yeah,
Buddhist or if you're a Wiccan, whatever it is, they have them all, and they give you all the respect for that. Like Muslims, they have to pray 5 times a day. You can stop where you're working, and they will give you the time to go. You can have your prayer match sent in, and every religion is highly respected in federal prison. So.
I love that. Okay, so you have to tell me because obviously I'm about to go in. What are jobs in prison? Like how
So
do
they're
they
gonna.
assign it to you?
So here's the deal. You can't work until you have it. Or once a month, they'll do an orientation presentation. All the departments will get up there and tell you what their department does. And once you get the orientation, now your case manager will assign you a job. But here's what you do: those couple of weeks before you get orientation, go look for a job. Like if you want to do so. I went to the. I went to the. I used to be a chef and stuff, and the food kind of sucked a little, and I thought they need a new chef here. Me and my right. So I went and talked to the CO who's running the kitchen, and he said, "I actually do. I need a baker. Are you up for it?" And I said, "Yeah." But then I hadn't been to orientation yet, so he said, "You got to wait." In the meantime, so then they sent me to culinary school instead over at the Supermax. It was a real I got my see all my certificates on the wall. I have
Wow.
33
Wait, in
certificates.
prison?
Yeah, they had a real
Wow.
culinary school. We even got to go to the community college in Colorado Springs to like do our finals and certain events and stuff. They would
Very
let us wear a
cool.
polo shirt and pants and so I was like, I'm not wasn't a real prison. It's a camp with no fences, and you're
Yeah.
going to something close to that. But yeah, that's a real culinary certificate. But
Yeah.
the jobs you get if you go find your own job first. Let's say you want to go to
In
education.
prison? I can
If you
find
want
my
to
own
teach,
jobs in prison?
yeah, if you want to teach one of your languages there, go talk to the correctional officers in the education department. There'll be 3 or 4 different classrooms and tell them you want to teach, and that'll be your job. If you're into working out, maybe you go to the recreation department and you want to be like a personal personal fitness person. They have jobs like that. You could also, if you want to, if not, they're going to make you probably wash dishes and scrape trays or do yard work around the FCI or the penitentiary. They will send you guys out. You'll see inmates with power tools walking around the outsides of prisons in their, you know, uniform, and you're going to go, what the
Oh,
hell's going on? But welcome to the world of federal prison. There's
that's
just
crazy.
different custody levels,
Yeah.
there's different trusts that you get. But find your own job the first week or two before they assign you one. And you'll see. I mean, there's everything from so I wanted the job of teaching people how to play guitar, but they had 2 guys that already did it, and they were
Oh,
doing a 5-year sentence. So they never left before I did. I couldn't take their job.
oh
Some
yeah,
jobs
yeah.
are already filled. One of the best paying jobs is commissary. The guys who hand out the commissary, they got three
Sure.
hundred dollars a month, which is good money when you're in prison.
That's good money for prison, yeah.
I was making 12 cents an hour, scraping. I started scraping trays, and then I got to culinary school. We didn't
Yeah.
get paid for that one, but we got to eat the best food ever. We had a great guy that was a teacher. He was a CO, and he had lots of hotel and restaurant experience. Mr. Thompson, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson, for hooking up Sean. All right, that's good to know.
But yeah,
Interesting.
there's all kinds of opportunities, and if you take advantage of them, I mean, electronics. There's everything from recycling, um, like taking electronics, recycling, turning them into like computers. It just depends where you're located, which programs they have going. There's Unicore, and there's not a lot of them left, but they pay up to $500 a month
What's that?
building furniture,
Oh,
license plates, it's usually
gotcha.
furniture or maybe it's making tires, like melting rubber down, it's different kind of things that they sell on the outside. In the federal system, thank God they don't have chain gangs. Because if you're doing state time in like Alabama, Arkansas, you're
Yeah.
out there on the roads every day, with sledgehammers, and
Oh,
it's still
brutal.
like that. It's still like that in state
Yeah.
prisons, pretty bad.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I spent time in a state prison for 3 weeks, and that was probably worse than Belgrade.
I bet. So
It
you kind
was.
of know what the women are like.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I won't say it on this show, but I know some of the women could be vicious, right, with each other.
Yeah. Listen, I know. I think that men would be very surprised, or maybe not, of how vicious and catty and just deranged some of these women are out there.
I when they come out, I'm still working with the federal halfway house here, and I was teaching RDAP last year. Our grant money ran out for that, but I'm still working with people coming out every week. And in Albuquerque, I've never met so many women who've been to prison. I
Yeah,
came from San Francisco. I thought it was bad there, but no.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
really like to
goodness.
lock women up in this state, man. But
Sheesh.
they, when they get out, what you got going right now, they don't even have that when they get out.
Yeah,
If they could start where you're at now, because when you get out, oh man, the world's going to be your oyster.
I know.
You got some.
Thank
Uh,
you.
you got a great life ahead of you. You keep that attitude,
Yeah,
you're going to
I
go
claim
crazy.
it 100%.
It's part of on my resume. It says that and I've said this on the show. My resume says I've been homeless. I've been in and out of jails. I've been to prison. I was molested when I was 5 years old. I put
Um,
all this stuff up there, and then
I'm
there's
so
the bottom, and then
grateful.
that says because I've survived all that, I'm the guy you want to hire. That's the first thing that says on my
Yeah,
resume, right? And I
yeah,
still get job offers. See, I screen them first.
yeah.
If they're gonna judge me, well, then I don't want to work for you.
Of
So
course.
you
Of
know what I
course
mean?
not.
So I
Yeah.
put that on my resume. I don't let I turn that into a positive. And
Yeah,
same with
exactly.
pretrial,
It's
guys.
true. You want people on your team and people on your side that are survivors that have gone through shit and come out on the other side so super positive, because you would never believe half of the things, nor will I say it on this public platform, but like, whew, a lot of the things that I've had to endure, a lot of it from my own doing, and you know, at the end of it, you have to use every single thing that you can towards strength. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, what they say, if it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger, but there's some truth to that.
Yeah, there is 100%.
If you have her mindset, guys, because she's got the mindset. Listen to this lady. If you're on pretrial, and I know I don't talk to a lot of women on pretrial, I talk to men, but there was a few. They have prison channels now. I'll shout them out. Angie Talks Prison, and then
Hi,
Fed Phoenix. So go to Fed Phoenix and Angie Talks
hi,
Prison. Those two women,
Pepsi.
they were on here before they went. Now they're both out, and now they're doing YouTube channels, and they got careers
Awesome.
going. So
I love that. I love that.
I'll put their links on here. I haven't talked. It's been 6 months since I talked to those two ladies, but they're great. It really they've evolved. Put it that
I
way.
love that. Yeah, and as we should listen. If we're in the same exact place that we're at, that we were at, pardon me, a year ago, and we're still in that same place today, like something's wrong, you know? Like you got to wake up. Like wake up and smell the coffee, because the world is going to move, and it's going to move really fucking fast. So it's up to you whether you can actually, keep up with it. So for me, I have a lot of things that I want to be able to accomplish. And a big part of it is, you know, um, finishing the sentence, being able to pay back restitution, and then live my life and really live it with intention. Nothing is guaranteed to us. The only thing that I can stand for is that all we have is this moment. So what are we going to do with it, right? And yeah, I want to be able to look back at my life and just being like, okay, she went through fire and she came out of it scarred, burned, but she also decided to light her own flames, right? In a righteous path. So I think that whoever is going through pretrial, I know that it's brutal. You never know what's going to happen. You're anxious, but do everything that you can to, what I like to say, to romanticize your life. Romanticize it in the sense, when you wake up, you're grateful because you got to wake up, right? Number one, there's so many people that don't get a chance to wake up the next morning. Romanticize your life where you're like, man, I get to make a cup of coffee at home and enjoy it while I'm sitting out and looking at the sun, right? Like finding these moments and having those moments of like gratitude and just that mindset over and over and over on repetition. Before I go to sleep every night, I always ask my kids, what were the 3 highlights of your day? Because it trains their mind to only see the good in every situation, instead of being like, man, this was a shitty day. Was it a shitty day, or was it like just a shitty 15 minutes, right? And then you're stretching it out to be a whole entire day. I'm going to tell you. So Sean, I when I found out that I was going to Hazleton, it is miles, it's not even anywhere remotely close to my family here in New York City. And I was devastated. I mean, I probably sat in my office like crying, and I'm like, how am I going to get through this? And then I was like, well, I've already gone through the worst. And I came across your video and I called you. You picked up the phone, and literally in my absolute moment of despair, you were just there and you were just walking me through it, So I could have had a shitty day. I could have just been mortified for the next month and just not done, and just felt pity for myself. But the reality is that I was put in this situation because of my stupidity, right? And so I'm like, okay, how do I just fight through these moments? So you helped me get through that next moment, Sean, right? And
Thank you. Wow.
yeah, so you helped me get through that moment. And then that next hour, I was able to be like, okay, the next hour I'm going to travel. Okay, this next hour I'm going to call and be with my parents. This next hour I'm going to be I'm going to sit and like cry with my best friend. So just understanding that these moments pass, And
We never know how we're going to
no,
affect somebody's life in the future. If you're out there still committing crimes, you're going to affect them in negative ways.
yeah,
But if you're out there
yeah,
working on yourself and you're on pretrial, your family might actually be proud of you.
exactly.
The thing is, you could
Yeah.
become proud of you. Like I think I hear that in
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
You
Yes, I
know.
am. And, pretrial actually allowed me to give back to my family and give back to my community tenfold. So no matter what happens, no matter if the judge came in, that courtroom already knowing, like, okay, this is what I'm going to sentence her, like, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that she came with character reference letters, 350 hours of community service, or, you know, it, ultimately it didn't matter because I know that I did it not just for the sake of mitigating for myself, but I did it for me. I did it for the betterment of myself, for my daughters, for my kids to see in the future that it can get better if you choose for it to. You don't ever have to stay stuck.
I want to share this story with you about my probation officer. I've been off probation like almost
Yeah.
3 years now, and I had four different ones. I was in San Francisco. They let me move to Albuquerque to go work for Wings for Life, helping people get out
Awesome.
of prison. But this was about 8 months ago. I called up my old probation officer, and I've been off a couple of years, and her name's Amy, and I said, "Hi, Amy. I just want to check in with you. I know you don't hear good things about people once they're off probation, or maybe you do, but I just got this certificate from the University of Mexico. It's called a Certified Peer Support Worker, and it's kind of like a clinician thing. So we get to help the therapists in drug and alcohol because they call it a lived experience. So we can they hire us now because we're actually helping people that listen to us because we've been there. But she knows what it is, and I told her I just got it. I passed
Yeah.
all the tests, and she says, "Sean, your timing couldn't have been better." And I'm going, "Uh oh, what did I do?" And she goes, "No, no, you don't understand. I'm sitting here writing my resignation letter. We're a federal probation officer now for like
Wow.
8 years, and she was a state. She goes, I feel like my whole life's been a waste. I'm just sending people back
Oh,
to prison. They're violating. I don't even want to, but I can't. I walk in their house and there's 10 people and they're doing drugs, and I just got to send it back. And she goes, I'm going
yeah.
to quit. But now you called, and
Yeah. Yeah.
then we started talking some private things. I won't
Sure.
tell you, but I started giving her advice from me, and she was listening. And so this was on a
Yeah.
Wednesday. I called her back Friday at her office number, and she answered, and she said, "Oh, thank you, Sean." I go, "What?" She goes, "You don't know what you did when you called, because I just got a call an hour ago from another girl who's off probation that I had, and she got all four of her kids back
Oh
today.
my.
Had I not been here to pick up the phone because you called on Wednesday, I wouldn't get to see that."
Oh
She
my
goes, "Now I have two
God.
people
So
that so."
beautiful.
She says, "Thank you so much." And now we talk. Yeah, I talk like once a month to her. But see, you never know what kind of impact you're
Exactly.
going to have on somebody, on a probation officer. Like,
That
who
is,
cares about them? But
Sean,
I mean,
that is such
I
a
made a difference in
powerful
that lady.
testimony because you never know when you're going to be used as an instrument to help jet set someone else's path. Like, I've been watching your video for a few months and I only called you when I was like, oh my God, at my absolute week. I texted you and then you called me right away, like within seconds. I'm like, who is this angel on earth? Right? So I can only hope and pray that anyone who is watching this, I know that what you're going through is extremely difficult and it is emotionally exhausting, but just keep fighting, just keep fighting through those demons, that are going in your head.
And don't give up.
Never,
Never give up.
never. You can always come out the other side in such a positive way. So,
The average age is about 52 in prison, guys. So if you're 70 and you're indicted on pre-trial,
yeah.
don't give up. It's not
Exactly.
over.
Exactly. Sean, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for being in my life and thank you for starting this community.
Will you keep in contact with me when you get in my email? I'll give you that. And,
Please.
after emails, I like to know
Yeah,
what's
I
going on
will.
there.
I
And
will. Absolutely.
it gives me purpose to hear from somebody. It's like, because I'm just an old guy who's been washed up and been to prison. I can't help nobody. Then you call me. See, you
Don't you
changed my whole.
talk about my friend Sean like that, okay?
But you make my day when any of you guys call. Like Jesse, I'm calling you next if you're watching now. And I know because he texted me
Okay.
earlier.
Hi, Jesse.
But yeah, I mean, you guys make my
Thank
day.
you.
I'm useful
Thank you
again.
for what you do here, for us and giving me a platform. it's hard because you almost have like this cloud over your head where you're like branded a certain way, in a negative light. And so for us to actually be able to sit on a platform like this, share our stories, be able to help motivate, hopefully inspire, and guide people to not make, any more future wrong decisions and really be a good law abiding citizen, um, moving forward. Like, I think that what you're doing is extremely empowering, and sometimes we can have a lot of like shame and not want to be able to tell that story, but it's so freeing being able to say, yeah, this is who I am, this is what I've done, but it doesn't actually define my whole entire existence. There's more to me than just the crime that I committed.
Yeah. You can grow from this, and you already are growing. If I met you 5 years ago, I know you wouldn't want to talk to me. Probably,
I
well, I don't get this guy out of my
yeah.
face, right? You were probably. I can only guess, right? But not today. You're not that.
No, Sean, thank you guys for tuning in. And I know that you're going to speak to, a couple guys after, but like, I'll call you tomorrow. Awesome.
Yeah,
All right.
do that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And I still want to go over the
Oh,
checklist,
yes.
but right, like the week before
Yeah.
you go in, there's lots of things people forget. Oh, I should have done
Yeah.
that. Why didn't I do that? Now I can't. Like all your passcodes and usernames and all that stuff. You want to write
Oh,
that down. You want to send a letter to yourself
oh,
ahead
yeah.
of time. You think you'll remember them
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. Exactly.
but I mean, and just a list of there's a whole bunch. I have a couple videos I've done. It's time I do a new one, a checklist of things to bring
Okay.
with you. What can you bring with you? What
Oh, yeah.
can't?
Help
And
me out with that.
a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff, mail it to yourself like a day
Okay.
before, just in case they don't let you in
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
True. True. I'll have copies of everything anyway. How do I,
Yeah. Have
how
you
do
called?
I,
Have you called the prison that you're going to go to yet? I suggest to everybody call the prison and ask them the
okay.
questions, and try the different shifts. Because I know Jesse did that. The night shift guy will probably talk
Yeah.
to you longer. If you call at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're too busy. They're going to hang up on
Okay.
you. But try different shifts and ask the prison questions. They're not going to come and get you. You're already
Exactly.
you're already on the
I'm already
reservation
self
list.
surrendering.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Sean. I gotta run. I gotta go make dinner now for
All
for
right.
people coming in. And
Food's not too bad in the feds, guys. It just depends what inmates cooking
really,
it. They have the same menu, but you can have 10 different ways to cook spaghetti,
yeah,
or
yeah.
meatloaf. We had a pretty good meatloaf, and lasagna tonight was not too bad.
I
And
don't know. I'm a really, really good cook and a baker. So I, who knows? My a lot of,
yeah, they actually have their own bakery there. Most of
yeah,
them do. I mean, like real
yeah,
baked goods, that the inmates eat, so it can
yeah.
make a difference.
Definitely. Like good food. Yeah, that'll power me through the days.
If you get a job in the kitchen, you're gonna eat really good, so good that too good.
Sean, guys, thank you so much for having me. And guys, stay positive.
Thank you for doing this. Because
My
I've been needed to do a
pleasure.
video for so long. It's been it's been weeks since I've done a video. I've been slipping,
Of
and
course.
thank you.
No, believe me, it was my absolute pleasure to do this, especially because of, the service and the gift that you give to all of us here. So this is just like a little bit of what I can do before, I serve my time.
Okay, I love it, and we've had a bunch of viewers. I've been
Oh,
watching the
really?
little thing. So
Thank you
thank
guys for tuning.
yeah. The more videos, if I do 3 a week like I used to, I could have 100 people watching when
Oh,
I do
okay.
a live. It's just the
Of
algorithms, and
course.
if
Of course.
if, if this guy does one every once in a month, then they stop watching. I got to get back into it
Consistency.
because it keeps me sane.
Consistency. That's the key.
Keeps me sane. Yeah, I know, huh? Consistency. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Thank you guys for who tuned in live, and for those that are catching, the recap. The only thing that I can say is that if this video had given some impact to you, obviously the best way to show your support is to like, to share, to comment. So please go ahead and do that. To subscribe to Sean's channel, and
My number's underneath all my videos, I think, guys. So call
yeah,
me
yeah,
anytime. If I don't answer, I
he
call you back.
does. I am a testimony to that. Thanks, Sean. Bye.
All right,
You
great.
too.
Have a
Have a
great
good
day.